We have a 1916 Federal Motors truck, and this old girl has not ran in at least 50 or 60 years. She's got the wood wheels, and, well, she's missing the rear axle, sadly. We were going to get her driving once we get her running. The motor is locked up in this thing. It has a little old 4-cylinder. Right there she is. This is just like the 1917 Cadillac V8. The head and cylinder wall are one piece. So there's no way to take the head off and look at the pistons. You'd have to take the whole cylinder wall off, and then you can service the pistons and stuff. To service the valves, they have these little deals right here. These come out, you can get to the valves, adjust them and stuff like that. And right here's basically your valve covers for your valve springs, and you can take the valves out of it. These right here are to let compression off, and also you fill these with gas, and you can prime this motor to make it a lot easier to crank start, because this old girl doesn't have a starter. You can see it has newer plugs on it. I'm gonna say these from the 50s or 60s. So she has ran in the past 50 years or so. We're missing the steering wheel. The cab used to be wood, and we're missing one front wheel. The front wheel that's on here was just put on here to move it around, and luckily it didn't fall off on the way home, but unloading it, she about fell off. And we're missing a fender, running board, and the cab used to be wood, so that's why there's no cab left on it. She runs off a magneto, so as long as the magneto's good, she should fire right off once we clean the points and stuff. She is locked up. No big deal though. 90% of the ones we get are. And here you can see that's the oil deal to check the oil, and there's no oil in the old girl, it looks like. So we're gonna put some PB Blaster in the cylinders, let it soak, and fill this old girl up with some new oil and get her rolling over. And right here on the old hand crank, you can see that there ain't no turning her. So we're gonna go ahead, get to it, and get this old girl running. Shock vac off the engine so we don't get it down in there. We're gonna go ahead and give each of these a generous amount of PB Blaster. The motor soak for a little while with them plugs soak for a bit, and we'll go ahead and try to pull these plugs out of here. Well, figure it's gonna be harder than that. Guess not. Not too bad. There's a little bit of carbon on there, and down in there don't look too bad. That valve does have some pitting in it, or it looks like where, yeah, that's pitting in that valve. But the cylinders are pretty oily down in there. She shouldn't be stuck too bad. Plugs are now out of there. We're gonna see what it looks like down in there. This one don't look too bad. This one, you can see there's a little bit of pitting on the top of the valve, or maybe a dent in it. This one's got a different valve. Well, this one has a different valve in it. This one's the same as this one because they have that divot in the middle. And this one's a different valve. I'm gonna say sometime in the 50s or 60s, like I said, because this thing was painted, somebody had this motor apart. Because this one here is different than all these. I'm gonna say this one's the original style and these were put on, or it may be vice versa. But we're gonna go ahead and spray that full of PB Blaster and let her set for a day or so, and that should get her loose. It's the next day. We let this old girl sit overnight, so hopefully we can break her loose. First we go ahead and stand on that. I think she moved. Come on. Whew. There we go. Come on. Let's see if we can get her to. Good Lord. There we go. Whew. We got her loose. Is it in gear or something? It might be in gear too. We'll know it spins that shaft anyway. See if it's spinning the rear drive shaft. No? Okay. Give her a. We got crankage. Now we need to see if we have valvulation. It's spitting out the OPB blaster out the intake. Okay, all the valves that were closed when we first took the plugs out are still closed. So we're gonna spin her a little bit. Let's see. Still closed. Still closed. Still closed. Wait, no. Open, closed, closed. Oh, this one's open. We got one open, two open, exhaust valve open, exhaust valve open. So, at least 4 of the valves are working. Closed, open. It seems that all the valves are working. So, that's a pretty good sign. At least we don't have to take that valve cover off there and beat on them with a hammer. You guys can see down in there through the camera or not, but this valve is open. This one here is closed. This one's coming open. This one's closed, and that exhaust valve right over there is open. So all of them are opening and closing. Next thing we got to do is put them plugs back in there, see if we're getting compression, and we'll go ahead and clean up the points and magneto and throw a carb on it, and she should fire right off. This may be one of the easiest wheel it runs we've got in a long time. All the plugs are back in there now, and we're going to go ahead and see how much compression she's got. Then we'll go ahead and change the oil in her, or at least put some in there. Y'all watch that and see if any compression comes out of there. Oh yeah. Good Lord, this thing's got compression. These old magnetos, sometimes they work, but most of the time they don't. If this old girl don't work, we can always bypass it and put a coil on here, but we're gonna give her a shot. Honestly, it looks good in there. That's crazy, the difference in something sitting for 60, 70 years here in Arkansas and somewhere in the desert where it don't rain all the time and it ain't humid. So I don't see the points in this thing. I swear they have points. I don't know. I may be wrong on that one. Well, they may be in here. I thought a magneto had points. Slap that back together, and just for fun, we're gonna see if it's gonna work. I really did think they had points. They may be somewhere in there. Pedal tractors that have magnetos and had points, but this one doesn't seem to have any. We're gonna go ahead, put some gas in these and just see if it gets spark. I doubt it, but there's always a chance because it looks like brand new in there. We know the valves and everything are valve laden and that she'll crank over. We're gonna go ahead and change the oil in this old girl. I'm not sure if there's any in there or not, but well, it looks like there is. Oh, Lord. We almost had a mess there. That's some thin old oil in there. We'll let this drain for a little while. Our oil of choice is VR1 20W50 oil. It's a little thicker than what I'd normally use, but this has all the vitamins and minerals for this truck, the zinc in it, which is a lot better on the motor. It helps protect the babbitt bearings in these things. And we've had this stuff laying around, so we're gonna use it. That does not, wait, I think that is where the oil goes in. We'll find out shortly. That is in fact where the oil goes in. We're gonna whirl this old girl over and just see. I don't expect it to fire off, but always worth a shot. And you're pulling on these hand cranks, you never want to wrap your thumb around them because they'll take your finger off. I think it just hit. If I wouldn't seen it, I wouldn't believe it. That magneto still works. Didn't have to do anything to it. Just seems to be hidden. So, guess that old magneto's good. We're short one plug wire, so we're gonna have to grab one of them in a minute, but she wants to live. I just closed the little compression releases and kicked her over and she fired right off. We're gonna go ahead and fix that carburetor, put another plug wire on this thing. How about she's gonna run? Went ahead and tightened the screws up in this old carburetor. The mosquitoes are trying to carry me off today for some reason. There's still a gasket on this, surprisingly, and hopefully these bolt threads line up. That one lines up there. There's that. Can we get so lucky Oh boy, it lines right up perfectly. And this carburetor was one that was laying around. Not really sure where it came from. I know it probably didn't come on one of these. Probably old tractor or something like that. But it seems like it's gonna bolt in there pretty easy. We got it pretty good and tight. We're gonna go find another spark plug wire to throw on the other side so we have 4 cylinders hidden, and I think she'll run probably on the first crank. She'll probably fire right off and keep on. Dirt daubers have got to this cap and plugged up the spark plug wire hole, but yeah. There we go, and we should be ready to go. Get her where she's primed and fill this carburetor up if we can. We might not be able to fill this old carburetor up. There. I think that'll do it. Well, turn these bad boys closed. We'll see what this old girl wants to do. Okay. Woo. She runs. Woo. Oh crap, that's a lot of wasp. Woo. Apparently there was more wasp in this thing than I thought. It's the flywheel in this thing is just full of them, or the crankcase or somewhere. Might be the exhaust. Whew. We'd have to dial the throttle on this thing a little. We can't have it doing that at all. Let's see here. Ooh. So the reason she tried to run away is because someone had put the wrong needle and seat in that carburetor. Sadly, we don't have one laying around, so we're just going to run it like this and bottle feed it, and we should be able to keep the old girl running. And hopefully at an idle and not trying to run away with us. Thing's got some compression. A lot more than when we first started cranking on her. Okay. She got to run. You got to choke too much? Yeah, probably. A little bit of gas in there, a little bit of throttle, a little bit there. See what we get. Well then. Okay. One more choke. That should be. And she'll fire. She's a runner. She runs pretty good, but you got a bottle feeder, and that gas evaporating off of there sure will burn your eyes out. Whew. Yeah, that exhaust manifold gets hot quick. Block ain't warm yet. We can't put no water in there because the radiator's got 20 holes. Whew, we got her running. I'll let her cool down. We'll probably start her up again for you guys and see if we can keep her running for a little longer. Whew. Well, I gotta say, she runs pretty good for a 107-year-old motor. Plugged up some of the holes in the radiator, so we should be able to fill her up with some water. There we go. Now there's a whole bunch of nasty stuff in this radiator, rust and some things, but it seems she's holding up pretty good. We'll go ahead and fire her up again and see if we can get her to take that water down in there. Girl up. Well, maybe not. Old girl running. I gotta say, she runs real good for being 107 years old and setting for 50 years. It's crazy how good these things will run once you get them started, and once you fight with them and get it where they'll run and idle and you can feed them off a bottle and keep them running, they'll run really good and they'll start just about on the first or second try every time after that. We are going to order a kit to rebuild this carburetor, and you guys will be seeing this later on. Hopefully we can find a kit to rebuild that water pump because it's not really working. This water is a little warm, but I think it's just from the heat pushing it up out of the block. And our main problem is going to be trying to find axle shafts for this old girl because they're not back there. If they were, we would have tried to drive her. The steering wheel and stuff like that's easy to find. But if anyone has a set of axle shafts, I need a front wheel and I need at least a passenger side fender. I like to have them both because this is pretty well beat up. But if you guys got that, let me know, or if you know someone that has it. The cabin stuff was made out of wood, so it'd be pretty easy to remake. But thank you guys for watching. We got the old girl running after 50 years. She runs good. She kind of idles. And, well, you guys will see CUDA content here pretty soon. We've been way behind on it. I'm sorry about that. But here in the next week, well, probably 2 or 3 weeks, we'll see a video on it. And we have another CUDA you guys will be seeing, another AAR. We're doing something a little different with. But thank you guys for watching. Please consider leaving a like and maybe subscribing because we've got a lot more cool will it runs coming. And I'll see you in the next video.